The spotlight is yours. I don't really know even how to introduce you, except that I will remind everyone that Megan, Gig Salad, first of all, is on anybody's list one of the top three clause providers, employment opportunity providers in the country every year. Um, Megan personally is one of the most in demand, sought after speakers on the professional clause circuit. It's really hard to get her anyway, but this close to the season, it gets harder and harder. So I can't begin to tell you how excited we are to have a personality such as Megan Price here today. Megan, please take it away. We're all yours.
Aw, thank you guys. You you always make me feel like a rock star of some sort, and so it's
You
fun.
are a rock star in this crowd.
Well, I really love talking to the Santa community, so I hope that this week works. I know we tried to squeeze one in a couple weeks ago, but I was on a little vacation, so I'm glad we were able to do this today. So I don't know how many of you were at the Forbes reunion last year or this year, I guess the year isn't over yet. So this might look a little familiar, but I did cut it down a little bit just to try to touch on the most important things that I see Santas doing wrong every year. So I kind of titled it Quick Tips for New Santas and the Season Pros. So just some reminders of what to think about as you're going into the season. I feel I'm in our office after hours. It feels very echoey. Can everybody hear me okay?
Crystal clear.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, great. So let me get this going here.
Megan, before you start the video or
I
the
did authorize
presentation, can we ask? I know we've got some new Santas here. We've got a couple of Santas here that are even new from my area. Can you explain what Gig Salad is and what you do for them?
That's actually part of her presentation.
Yeah, I do
Oh,
have a little slide about
I'm sorry.
about me, but I didn't include very much about Gig Salad. So yes, I can absolutely talk about the platform a little bit. So just as my role, I have been with Gig Salad since I think 2012, so 2013, something like that. For over a decade, I love Gig Salad. I've obviously been here for a long time. I kind of fell into talking to the Santas several years ago, and we started realizing how well Santas did on the Gig Salad platform. So, what we are is a platform that provides a secure booking experience for your clients. In addition to that, we have worked on our search engine optimization from day one. So, when someone is searching something like Santa Claus in Los Angeles, Gig Salad tends to be one of the first websites that shows up in the results. So, rather than you trying to build your own website, trying to get new clients, we've already done all of that work for you. So that's one of the most valuable parts of Gig Salad for Santas, aside from all the tools that I'll talk about today. It really saves you time and money finding new clients because we bring all these clients to you. Uh, Gigs or Santa Claus is the number one most booked category on Gig Salad. It's the number two most requested. The number one is mariachis, which I always think is funny to tell you guys. so, so if you are on Gig Salad as a Santa Claus and you even put a little bit of effort into your profile, you are likely to be very successful. The more effort you put in, the even more successful you will be. So it's a place to host your media. It's a place to send even older clients that you've been booking for years. If you want to keep it all in one place, we have tools for that. It's a place where you can get verified reviews. You can show off all of these bookings that you've done. So it's a place to build your legitimacy on top of getting new clients. So you can join for free, or there are paid memberships. If you're a new Santa, definitely join for free. You might look in your area and see if there's a lot of competition. If there is, you may want to upgrade. A lot of Santas stay free and they do just fine. So it's kind of up to your competition in your area. But there are some features that come along with the paid memberships too, like you get client phone numbers, you have a little bit lesser booking fee, that kind of thing. So that was a ramble, but I hope that it sort of explains what Gig Solid is for the new folks here.
Thank you.
Okay, great. All right. Well, I'm going to skip over the slide about me since we already talked about it. Okay, let me share my screen if I can figure it out here. All these platforms are different, so hold on just a second here.
There you go.
Okay, great. Let me get to the presenter view.
That looks
Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is a little bit about that we already talked about. It's a little so, to talk about our agenda, these are just sort of the things we're going to touch on. I want to always talk about polishing up your profile. I want to touch on lead preferences to make sure you're getting what you want. I want to talk about sending quotes, the key elements of a booking agreement, and a couple of the tools that we have that really make sending messages and quotes easier and faster. And then we do, if you all want to do Q&A, I'm happy to stay and do some of that, just up to you. All righty. So high quality media is, I will never stop talking about it. You all will probably get tired of hearing it, but it is so important. Um, a lot of Santas upload a photo. You might have been on GigSalad for years, or you might have a really old photo that you always rely on or fall back on, and that's the one you constantly use. But there's so much technology today that'll help you with a brighter, fresher, newer photo. So take a look at your profile from the client side and just ask yourself, would I book this guy? If it's a fuzzy, if it's outdated, if you got a big heavy filter, that was kind of the thing several years ago, adding filters to things. Just be you, but make it a fresh, clear photo. Our site is extremely mobile friendly. Well, it's fully mobile friendly, and most of the people coming to GigSalad are on their phone. So rather than choosing, kind of a far shot, you can add those on your gallery. But for your profile photo, I always recommend from shoulders up, so you have a very clear profile photo on the phone. So just think of, what's it going to look like when it's a little bit smaller. So the clear close-up shots are best. And then, of course, when you're adding your gallery, you can add different poses and that kind of thing. We always recommend at least 3 photos on your profile. Up to 10 is even better. More than 10, people kind of start to lose, attention spans are short. So more than 10 probably isn't necessary, but you can add as many as you want to, really. All right. And then another thing that I always find very important are videos. So videos are king today. We got TikTok, we got YouTube, we've got Instagram Reels. The videos are everything. So your clients want to see videos too. And this kind of helps give them sort of a real life, maybe a 3D kind of vibe as to what it will really be like to interact with you and have you at their event. They can hear your voice, they can see how you move. It's not just a still photo that they're relying on. So we always advise to add a video or two. 1-3 is great. Again, staying between 30 seconds and 1 minute is good. Again, attention spans are something to consider. Want to upload those to YouTube or Vimeo, and then we host it there with that link on your GigSalad profile. So these are just a few tips. Of course, good lighting, separate microphone if you can. They're super cheap on Amazon. A nice neutral background, unless you have like a pretty Christmassy background, that's great too. And then I did add a few little tips as far as shooting these little videos. You want to take, don't just put the costume on waist up and leave your pajama pants on the bottom. To really get into the character of this video that you're doing, really act like you're going to a gig or an event. Be Santa head to toe. Don't start out with, you want to capture their attention from the beginning. So start in character from the beginning, a big ho ho ho, or whatever you want to do. That's your part of your Santa persona. But starting off with, hello, I'm Santa Ellen, and I would love to be your Santa. That's fine. But to really grab their attention and show them how dynamic you can be, start it out in that way and grab their attention from the beginning. Again, using a fun, festive background, warm lighting, which is something I'm really struggling in this fluorescent office. Moving all around, nice lighting. So lighting can be a challenge. Adding a little bit of some props if you've got, a lot of you have bells. You might have, if you have candy canes or, a stuffed reindeer puppet or whatever you might bring on your gigs, that might be something fun for the video too. And whenever you're doing this video, talk to it as if it's the client. It's not a job interview. You want to really show them what it's like when you're interacting with their children or you're interacting with their party guests. And then, of course, you would, maybe mention the types of visits that you do. If you do community events or churches or schools or house parties, whatever, give them a little taste of what you can bring to those events. And then, as with any sales pitch, we always want to end with a call to action. So something like, "Hey, I can't wait to get your request. I can't wait to be at your event. Send it to me today." Something along those lines. So these are just a few little tips to try to help you all create some videos this season. And ChatGPT is becoming more and more useful to us. I try not to rely on it completely, but it is fun for some brainstorming things occasionally. So these are just a few little content ideas that ChatGPT helps me with. A little mini gift reveal or a naughty or nice check or a little sing along if you're a singer. So just if you struggle with ideas, sometimes AI can help with that. And I'm not saying we need to put everything into AI, but sometimes it can help with writer's block and that kind of thing. All right. So next I want to talk about lead preferences. This is something that if you're a new Santa, it's important to look at. If you have been with GigSalad for a while, you might want to just double check this before the season. Basically, your lead preferences are what are your settings that indicate what type of leads you're going to get. So this is something, and I say it every year, but every year I have to go in and rescue Santas that have not chosen their category as Santa Claus. They choose actor or costumed character or storyteller, which those are all accurate, but they don't have Santa Claus. So just do a quick double check that your category does say Santa. If you want to add a costumed character, holiday entertainment, or storyteller, those are all good. Do keep in mind costumed character and children's party entertainment might get you things like, they're having your birthday and they want kind of like a face painter or a magician or like a costumed character, like a mascot of some kind. So if you're getting those types of leads and it's getting frustrating, I would just remove those categories and focus solely on Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus, and holiday entertainment are generally the best ones for Santas. You can also set up things like advanced lead notifications. I know a lot of Santas are booked very tightly through the season. So if you need a big, a large lead time and you don't want to deal with last minute requests, those are knobs you can turn and tighten in your lead notifications so that you're not constantly declining leads that you can't do. Another thing to think about is event types. If you don't want to do things like cocktail party, some Santas don't want to be around alcohol, or some Santas maybe don't want to do like schools. I'm just throwing stuff out there. If there's types of events that you don't want to do, you can uncheck those and you won't get those types of leads. But if you're open to everything, I would just leave your lead preferences wide and cast a wide net. That way you can decline things if you don't want and you're not shutting yourself out of potential leads. But if you've got a tight parameter, you can kind of tweak that in your lead preferences. Another thing we offer is syncing external calendars. Have an iCalendar or a Gmail calendar, you can sync that. That way we will block leads that are on those two calendars too, so you're not getting conflicting leads or double bookings. Just a quick sip of water. This feature launched a couple years ago. And if you're a Santa that's been with us for a while, I would encourage you to check this out if you haven't. You can now change your travel radius rather than just an as the crow flies circle. You can now change it by drive time or by distance, and that will follow major highways. So if you're like in Tennessee or near the ocean, it doesn't encompass all of those landmarks that might not, even though it's as the crow flies 2 miles, it really takes you an hour to get around these mountains or whatever. So I would encourage you to go in and change this around based on distance or time, and it'll kind of change the map and show you what it'll cover for you. And another thing, if you're a new Santa or you're not, when you're choosing your primary location, you don't have to choose where you live. So if you're in a little town and you've got a big town near you, it might make more sense for you to put your primary location in the bigger market That way you're getting leads from those bigger cities. So where do you want your leads to come from? That's a great question to ask, and that's where you should maybe put your primary location. Okay, and I do just want to quickly point out lead notifications. We do have text notifications. So if you are tech savvy and phone savvy and always on your phone and don't want to miss those leads, be sure to sign up for text notifications. Those are in your dashboard under your account notifications. You can, if you're a featured member, you can add a second email address to notifications. So if you've got someone helping you, you might want to double check that you've got GigSalad added to your contacts so you don't miss our emails from leads at GigSalad, gigs at GigSalad. And if you want all of those email addresses, you can reach out and we can share all of those with you. But text notifications are extremely important. And then again, we've got I didn't mean to put that twice, but you can edit those advanced lead notice preferences if you don't want those last minute requests. Okay, so this is a big one for all Santas. I see it every year from those that have been with us a long time, and especially for new ones. So before you send a quote to a client, I kind of want to touch on this process. So for new Santas, this is how leads become a booking on GigSalad. So again, a client might search something like Santa Claus in Los Angeles, land on GigSalad. They're presented with the search results area. They can either browse and choose the Santas they like, or there's a form at the top that says, tell us about your event, and we'll send it to the qualified Santas in your area. And that's how most clients to do it. So they can choose either 5 or 10 vendors when they're submitting their event request. So we submit it based on the lead details, comparing it to your calendars, availability, all of that stuff. So then you get the lead with the basic event information. So we try not to put too many obstacles on the quote request form because we don't want to deter people from the process. So some things are optional and you may need to ask some questions before you send a quote. So when you get the lead, send a message first to the client asking any questions that you might need. If there's, if they've put that their party is 4 hours long, well, they might be thinking, well, our party is 4 hours long, but they may only need a Santa for 30 minutes. So a lot of people are new to parties and booking, and they may not put the details may not exactly match what they're actually looking for. So asking questions is always good. After you've gotten all the information, you've talked about price and clarified all of the event needs, that's when you should send the quote. So if you respond to a lead with a quote right out the gate, that is bookable immediately. So if the person books you and you don't know the address, you've quoted 4 hours and they really only need you 30 minutes or whatever. Now we have a booking that's a valid contract that now we have a mess on our hands that we have to try to cancel and refund and requote, and it kind of becomes a big issue. So, and another big deal when sending quotes right out of the gate is double booking. So when you're just sending quotes to every lead you got 2 clients that book you for the exact same time, that's an issue too. So my advice is always to send messages first and do not send a quote until the client verifies that they're ready to book. And then that's when you can go ahead and send that. Then when they accept the quote, it creates the official booking agreement, which is a contract. And that's the most important thing to remember. So that before quoting, we want to double check address, and an address is optional on the quote form. So they can the minimum they have to put in is a zip code. Some people aren't comfortable sharing their address immediately, especially if it's their home. Some may not know the address just yet. So you might get leads that are a little bit lax in the details. Be sure to ask all of these questions. And again, event duration is when I see a lot where the party is 4 hours and they think that they're getting Santa for 4 hours because you've sent the quote, but you haven't clarified that Santa's performance is only 30 hours. Work out all of those details before you send the quote. That way everything is accurate. These are just a little bit more touching on if you have agreed on changes, like if the client says, oh, I just want to Santa for an hour, the client can update those event details so your quote is actually accurate. If you have already sent a quote and the client updates the details, that will cancel the pending quote. So if you ever have you send a quote to someone and then they decide to change the guest count from 25 to 30 or whatever they've done, that will cancel your pending quote. So you'll want to send a new one based on their new event details, and we'll notify you when that happens. That's mostly to protect you. That way you don't send a quote for 30 minutes and then they've changed their event to 2 hours and then book you for a 30-minute price. So we never want to leave those quotes active if the client changes details on you. Okay, and again, I keep harping on the same thing about double booking. But a lot of Santas think if you don't send a quote, then and the person just wants the price, and you can always just send a little message with the pricing in it. Something like this: "I'd love to be your Santa. If it's helpful, my hourly rate is $300." That way, you give them a little ballpark as to what it's going to cost if it's somebody that just really wants to know pricing. But sending a quote really does just open you up to trouble if you're not actually ready to book with them yet. Okay, so your booking agreement, and I think that this is a breakdown across multiple categories on GigSalad, not just Santa Claus, but it doesn't seem to always land that the booking agreement is actually a contract. So it's a really important piece of the GigSalad platform. So of course, it's portraying your professionalism, the clarity of what you're offering, um, ensures that you both are understanding what's coming, what's happening at this event. Managing expectations is extremely important for especially event planners who expect one thing and you haven't shared what you're going to be doing at the event, and then both people are unhappy because nobody's talked about what actually is going on whenever you're coming to the event. And then lastly, up to 24 hours after the event, the client does have the option to dispute the booking if they think something didn't go as planned or there was a late arrival or something along those lines. So we always use the booking agreement to fall back on if there is a dispute. If they said he was going to wear his woodland suit and he showed up in his Coca-Cola suit, and we go back to the quote and it says Coca-Cola suit, then we can, oh, that's what it said. That's what you booked. That's the contract. So it really helps us in the event of a dispute. So the more clarity you can add to those quotes, the better for us and for you and your client. So these are the main things as you're going down and creating a quote. You'll add services to be provided, any additional terms, pricing, deposit, and then of course the cancellation policy. And you have power over all of those things. We default to a 50% deposit and a refundable deposit, but you can always change that. So you can change it however you want. I see a lot of times, in the messages, well, GigSalad requires a deposit, so I can't refund you, and we don't require anything. This is totally in your hands. So you can change it to whatever you would like to, and we will always uphold what was in the booking agreement. So I won't go through all of those, but the most important ones I want to talk about are the services to be provided. I think it's the most important section. It's important to be clear there so clients are not misunderstanding what's going to happen at the event. This is where you really need to detail what's going to happen, including the length of your visit, if you need any breaks, if there's any special requests, like if the client says, "Oh, I'd love for you to read the night before Christmas." Go ahead and add that to your services so that you're both clear that that is happening. If you have different suits or looks, you can add that in there too. Okay, so these are the do not do on the services to be provided that I see all the time. Don't leave it blank. You wouldn't leave a contract blank, so don't leave this blank. Don't use it as a message to the client. So many times I see a quote and it says services to be provided, and it'll say something like, "I can't wait to be your Santa." Well, that doesn't tell us anything. We don't know what you're doing. They don't know what you're doing. It's just a message. And so we have a message box for messages, and the services are for the services. Don't send a quote if you're sending it, but saying, "Here's the quote, but I'm not available that day." So again, the person can book you if you send the quote. So discuss all of that before you send it so that the quote should be fully accurate whenever you send it. And don't send quotes that say, "Here's the quote, but call me before you hit before you book, because we send it along with every encouragement under the sun to get these people to book you. So there's a big, beautiful book now, emails, book Santa Ellen. So don't don't tell them to call before booking when we're fighting the other way, trying to get them to book you. So just keep that in mind when you're sending those quotes. Okay, and I just gave a couple little examples of kind of what I see that are wrong and some ideas of what might be right. So you can just take a quick look there. It's pretty self-explanatory. Just adding a few little details and versus the the message sending in those services. Okay, and then additional terms is more important for Santas, I think, than most categories, because you guys sometimes have specific things that you need for your gigs, and some clients have never had a Santa visit before, and Santa visits are different. It's not a band coming to set up and you're up on a stage and nobody's really interacting with you. It's a totally different thing when you're really entering a room and interacting. So help your clients prepare for your visit because they may not know what to do. Talking about if you need a sturdy chair, an armless chair, a straight back door, dedicated parking spot, bottles of water, just all those little things that'll help the gig go a little bit more smoothly. And in that additional terms section, you do have the option to attach PDFs or photos. So if you want to send them different pictures of suits or whatever, and you can do that for messages too. I know a lot of you have little one sheets you've created for tips for a home visit or what to do before Santa visits. If you have little questionnaires that you need them to send or to fill out, if you have insurance or background checks you want to attach, those are all great things to attach to your additional terms section. And if you don't have a tips for a home visit question or one sheet, highly recommend it. It's really cool to see. It really helps your clients kind of gets them involved in the process. Like, oh, Santa's coming. What do I need to do? So it kind of helps get all of that going, that excitement going too. Okay, a quick couple of things for messages and quoting features. Response time is extremely important for all salad, but even more so for Santas. I've run lots of data on different categories, and I was really shocked. Santas who respond in the first hour are 60% more likely to book than those who wait even just 5 hours. So the faster you can respond, the more likely you are to close that booking. So we have a couple of tools to help you respond really quickly. Saved messages are one of those. You can whip up a bunch of those and click respond to these leads with one click, just a little drop down, choose your saved message and send it on its way. You can personalize them with these little short codes that we have. So that way, instead of having to type out the client's name every time, these little placeholders will fill in the client's event details. So it's a little more personalized on their end. So you can go through and build out these little saved messages. Again, you can attach photos and PDFs through these, and like I said, respond with one click and get those bookings closed a little faster than the next guy. Same thing for quotes. If you want to create some saved quotes, you can do so too. If you already have kind of set pricing for Christmas parties or home visits or whatever it is, you can create some of those to quote a little faster too. And you can edit either of these things. If you choose one of the saved messages, you want to add a little tweak first, you can do that too, and then send it on its way. Now is a great time to start thinking about creating some of these. The busy season is starting to pick up on us. Just as an aside, most bookings for Santas happen in November, and this month is going by fast, so it'll be here before you know it. So as you're ramping up, I would just set aside some time to create some of these saved quotes and messages. Okay, so just a quick summary. Take a look at your profile, polish it up a little bit, go through all your preferences, sync your calendar so you're not getting those double bookings. Take a look at those saved messages and quotes. Again, that's where you can add all those important terms and services provided. Communication, professionalism. We love our Santas and we want to stand behind you. So make us proud out there with your communication and how professional and lovely you can all be. And of course, there's tons of education opportunities. So I'm glad to see all of you here. Hope to see you all, when is it? February, whenever we're coming out to the OC. So that is that's basically it. I did want to give one quick resource up or just draw attention to GigSalad's resources. So we have a really great help center. If you're at the GigSalad homepage, if you scroll to the bottom, click on Help Center, or it's on your Help tab in your dashboard. There's tons of articles for all kinds of questions that you might have of how things work on GigSalad. We have a wonderful support team, our customer happiness team, which I manage. So they're all great. You can email us at help@gigsalad.com, or you can call us. We're here Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Central. We're working on a chat. It's on sometimes. We're just trying to figure out how to get that going. So that you might see the chat window until you get it really going. In our blog, I know a lot of times, you might not think of our blog, but we have a really great blog from everything from creating a great profile to communication to setting your pricing. There's all kinds of stuff. So I would suggest going to the blog, clicking on using GigSalad, or there's business tips. And there's a little section just for our providers like Santas and bands and all of that. So take a look at that, and I hope you'll find something useful in there. And that is it. I hope I didn't go too fast.
I'm so glad that you mentioned the help center, the online help center, in your closing remarks, because earlier in your presentation you referred to, I believe it was a helpful tip sheet for event planners. And I just wanted to remind everyone that among the other exemplar documents that you can find on GigSalad are some helpful tip sheets. You can find some videos that more experienced Santas have used to describe the preparations for how they prepare their event planners and things like that. The resources that are available to you via the GigSalad website are incredible, considering you can join for free. If I could get you to stop sharing your screen, Megan, we will populate the gallery, and you have so generously offered some of your precious time for a Q&A. So if you guys know how to use your hand raise at the bottom, Alan, help me out here. Where would we find that? React?
Yes, the heart. There should be a heart symbol at the bottom toward the just off the center on the left.
Okay, all right. So we have hands coming up. Can you see those hands as they come up, Megan? I see Russell Levine. Russ Levine has his up. There are 3 up now. If not, I will just designate them for you.
I can see it, but I'll let you, because I didn't see who was first, so I'll let you pick.
Oh, why do you think I was ducking in?
Yeah, you be the bad guy, not me.
All right, let's just go in the top left corner. Russ Levine.
All right, thank you. Hello, Megan.
Hello.
All right, so I'm wondering, can the user create their own short codes, or are we limited to the 6 or so that you all have?
You are limited. So it's kind of just the basic event details. But if you have, ideas or suggestions for others, you're welcome to send those to our email, and we can see if our product team is willing to add more in there. I haven't had that question, so that's a good one.
Well, I use a lot of um, like Excel and then loading documents a lot to want to do things. So I just was wondering
Yeah,
because I populate things. Okay, thank you.
As
you're
a
welcome.
general population, we are not the most techno-savvy demographic in the world. On the other hand, some of us actually have computer science degrees that are older than the internet. It's a mixed bag when you're looking at this screen. Next person in line, I don't have a name. It says iPhone, and you need to unmute.
Hey, thanks, Rick. As this is Santa Skipper, I'm calling from Central Florida. Megan, I just want to let everybody know I started 4 years ago and started with GigSalad right out out of the gate, and could not be happier. 99% of the gigs I get are through GigSalad, and I'm not kidding that as the season gets in full season, every year I've probably turned down 200 inquiries just because there are conflicts with what I've already booked. So it's kept me well fed, been very good to me. And I also say that the help support I've gotten, the telephone support has just been outstanding. This is one of the best help groups I've had.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey.
Yeah. Now, make one comment, and I've left this idea before. The one thing that I would ask you guys to think about is that in the Santa business, at least for me, right after the season, it goes dark until summertime. And for me, at least, even though I'm in Central Florida, in the past have only gotten a couple of summertime Santa inquiries. And then it goes dark again until probably I booked my first one a month ago, and just in the last 2 weeks, it's gotten to where I'm getting them every few hours. They're starting to come in. So the pay structure is set up for people that are performers that are doing gigs all year long. Most likely tend to be that. The Santa experience, at least again for me, is much different. And so I'm wondering if you guys thought about some kind of payment structure for Santas, allow them to get a higher level of service, but also recognizing that really the lines do go dark for a lot of the year.
Well, just before you jump in there, Megan, I would like to remind everyone that our industry has built-in surge pricing. I don't know about you, but I don't make $250 an hour doing anything else for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to answer the question, so there are three things that I might point out. So what some Santas do is buy a 3-month membership, let's say September 30th or 30th. And then that'll carry them as a featured or pro member through the end of the season. And then they let that expire and drop to the free membership and just sort of ride out the free membership where they still have some visibility, but they aren't paying for it for the year because, as you mentioned, it's kind of a quiet time until September. So that's one thing you could do. That is if you want to have a visible profile the whole year. If you don't care about having a visible profile, what other Santas do is buy a 1-year membership, which has a deeper discount built into it. And then after the season ends, they freeze their membership. So that does completely shut down your profile, but you get to hold all of those days that you paid for and then reactivate it again the next year. So in essence, you could buy 1 year and pay for three or four seasons, depending on how often how much time you use. I think I said there were three things, but I think those are the main two. So does that sort of help with the problem?
Well, yeah, and I've sort of done your first recommendations. Just that it would be neat if you guys could think up of something that's for specialty things like Santa's, where it really is a different type of calendar across the year. That's it.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ask Chat GPT about this and see what they come up with. Okay, the next person I see.
They're the answer to everything.
By the way, they are now the 5th most visited website on the internet, and their energy consumption has gone up 35 times in the last 24 months.
Isn't it nuts?
In Pennsylvania. Unmute yourself.
Howdy, Megan. Thank you for joining us. I joined GigSalad about 2 weeks ago, and I've had 9 requests, booked 2 of them, and I have outstanding quotes for a couple others, but a couple others booked before I can get to I work full time, and before I can get to my phone. In fact, I missed one today because of that, and it was at a chocolate factory that I frequent to pick up the sugar-free chocolates. I said, that would have been perfect for me. Oh, no. So anywho, I did send them a message to say if they have any other events to please consider me, because I am a customer. So anyway, I would say the website was very easy, or your GigSalad site was very easy to set up. Sort of technical-ish, but it was easy to set up. And I think within like 2 or 3 days, I started getting bookings. And I set it up September 21st is when mine started. So it was I was surprised to see it's like, wow, here's it started. So
Yeah, that's
the
awesome.
question I have is, will that slide presentation be available to us? Because I just
Sure.
tried to
Yeah.
copy notes, but I can't get it quick enough.
Yeah, definitely. I can share that with either Santa Rick or Santa Alan, and y'all can do with it what you will.
¿Por qué no las dos?
So, also, I signed up as I'm a member of another Santa organization, and they had a 50% discount, which worked. So I end up signing up for the preferred, and
For sure.
I like the way it appears. It just pops right up there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think we have a coupon for Forbes. If not, I'll talk to someone, Alan or Rick, and get
I
it
thought
going.
I thought we might have had one at the reunion.
Yeah,
I was a little busy that weekend, so I didn't
sure.
jot it down. So we can talk about that offline.
Okay, yeah, I'll find it. It's somewhere and we'll get it shared. Yeah.
Yeah, Alan Cornwell, the king of the understatement. Okay, next is Jim Suter. Unmute yourself, my friend.
Good evening. First year, Santa all around, and got into GigSalad um, several months ago, and have many leads and several bookings already. So I'm totally pleased.
Love these
Uh,
testimonials,
I
Megan.
know. And I think
and
I
the help
talked to
center,
Santa Jim several times.
yeah, the help center, you've bailed me on a lot of things, a lot of stupid questions, but
No, you're not. They're
um,
not stupid.
just a curiosity question. What percent do you charge the booking customer? So I know that there's different levels for members, either 2.5 or 5%. I'm just trying to, when I give them a quote, wondering what kind of charge or fee they're paying on top of mine.
Yeah, good question. It's a sliding scale between 8 and 10%. Generally, the higher the booking, we kind of bump the fee down a little. But most of them are hovering around 10%. But you can see what it will be when you're on your quote. It's hard. I'm kind of drawing in the air, but whenever you're on your quote screen, you'll see a little blue link under the pricing that says see service fees. If you click that blue link, it'll drop down a little paragraph that'll outline the fees that your client will see.
Okay.
So you can calculate that ahead of time. And then if you want to bump your price up a little to, cover some of your fee, you can kind of play with the numbers and see what it looks like.
It
But
was
that's there
kind
for
of
you.
like for nonprofits and things like that,
Oh,
that
uh-huh.
you don't want to, put a quote out there. I had one for, I think it was an hour and a half, and I told them $100, and they booked somebody
Mhm.
else, which is fine.
Oh, really? Wow.
It was gonna be
That's
tight, but anyway, I was just curious about that because you don't want to punish them on the other end. So
sure. Yeah.
I appreciate it, and y'all are doing a tremendous job. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Santa Jem. Nice to meet you finally. I've
Nice
talked to
meeting
you a
you.
lot over email, so yeah.
That's right. Thank you.
The picture in the post office doesn't do you justice. Hey, Tim Marsh is here. All hail. By the way, the proper genuflection, if you meet Tim Marsh in the wild, your right knee touches the ground, your forehead touches his left shoe. You want to hold until released. Back away. Do not make eye contact. Go ahead, Tim.
Who are you talking to?
Tim, I always do that, Tom. Sorry.
There, that's what I'm saying. Who are you talking to,
Damn it,
Rick?
Tom. Listen, the Santa
Hello,
world
Megan.
began.
How are
The
you?
Santa world began with Tim Conahan and Tom Hartsfield. For the first 10 years, those names were interchangeable in my subconscious.
Thanks for putting me up that high, though, Rick. I appreciate it. Anyway, the only thing, I mean, I've been with GigSalad for a number of years. You guys even checked on me one time at the reunion. So, anyway, my only question is on, there's a time limit like 24, 48 hours, 72. Well, is there, lately I've been cutting it down to just 48 because I don't want to be tying the word about overlapping. Because if you put a 72, you have a tendency, and then another one comes through. My feeling is I could forget about that one. All of a sudden, that one drops in at the same time. Is there a recommendation? Like I said, I've been doing 48 hours lately. I don't know if that kicks a lot of mine out when I do something like that. Do I completely drop off the wire when that happens?
Oh no, all it does is just expire. It doesn't really punish you. It doesn't really do anything on the client side. It just kind of fades off so that they can't book you. But if the client comes back and says, "Oh, your quote expired. I'd love to book you," you can immediately send a new one, and it'll actually just replicate the last quote that you sent, so you don't have to do it all over again, which you
Right.
can tweak it if you need to. But yeah, I would say most Santas are sticking to 48 hours because of that. This isn't live yet, and I don't have a launch date, but we are working on a feature kind of along those lines to stop these double bookings from happening so that I don't know how it's going to work exactly, but I think if you send a quote while you have another quote for that same amount, there'll be like a little alert just to kind of, remind you that you do
Right.
have this other
Yeah.
one pending. So we'll hopefully be able to announce that soon. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with letting it expire. You can always send a new one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know. And one thing too is like this, the other guys you talked about, was changing your area, as far as, like I live in a small town up in the mountains in Wrightwood, so a lot of the area comes out, although I do put a 100-mile radius. Uh, so what I did is I changed it to Burbank as my thing, and that just opens up a whole new door. Of course, now I'm getting calls for 110 miles away,
Right?
well,
Yeah.
which actually worked out because one of the events they picked it up. They even asked if my wife would be accompanying me on it, so I got a
Great.
chance to talk. But I do the same thing. Once I usually leave a quote and I get a phone number within a short time, unless it comes in at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Like some of them do.
Sometimes they do.
It'd be amazing. The people are still up when you call them.
Yes.
They're there.
Yep.
Um, I usually try to call them right away, talk to them, try to get some details and
Hmm.
stuff onto it. I know then I could readjust a quote to their fittings.
Yep,
If
absolutely.
they're not, it says 4 hours, and like you mentioned, I'll call and ask them, "Are you really need me for 4 hours, or really is
Hmm.
about an hour good enough, or whatever?" So, you don't
Yep.
send that high quote to them. That all of a sudden they accept you, then they get this big pay. They're like, "Uh-oh."
Right. Also, 4 hours is a long time. It kind of
That's
loses the
right.
magic
Well,
after a little while. So,
well, I don't do home visits that long, but I do.
right.
I have done a lot of the events where they're 4 to 6 hours. It's no
Oh, that's
problem.
true. Yeah, I guess I'm
Yeah.
thinking of a home visit because, yeah,
Yeah. Not as a home. That's a long time you're
that's
a
a long time.
babysitter. You're not the Santa,
Exactly.
you're a babysitter. So thank you, Megan. Take
Yeah,
care.
thanks, Tom. Good to see you.
All right, guys. You see, his name is Santa Tom T. The T I have on good authority is Tim. Danny Atwood, good to have you with us, my friend. Unmute and tell us what you got on your mind.
Actually, Richard's just got a question. Yeah, I'm Richard. Megan, do you have any Santas or other entertainers that are using AI generated videos?
Yes, and I've actually only seen one, and I am not okay with it. I don't think that I just find it to be dishonest. I think if that's not the Santa that's showing up to the event, I don't think it should be on your profile. So yeah, if we're coming across a lot of AI generated photos too, which we're not okay with that either. So just be honest, be an honest representation of yourself and film yourself in a video. Now, as
My
I said,
computer,
ChatGPT, what's
my
that?
computer consultant is branching out. She took my main picture and that did AI video with my real picture, and then we're
Mhm.
going to add my real voice. And
Well,
like
why
one
don't you what I guess my question is what do you see as the benefit of using that rather than just filming a real video?
because I don't have the technology or the backdrops. I don't have a whole shop with elves and everything. And she's
Well, do
doing
you
it to learn something. I'm going to try it, see if it
yeah,
works.
I get this spirit, and I think it's a good reason. But if I were a client, I would much rather have my Santa against a brick wall or just a wall in your house and see an actual video of you than to see an AI generated video and then meet you in person and think, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? So I always would err on the side of honesty, even if it's not a fully professionally shot video. I don't think that that's necessary.
And
Shoot a sweet little video on your phone against your brick wall or outside in your yard. I just would I would err against using AI generated videos, but that's totally my opinion. Everyone else might have others.
even if
I have another question. What kind of tools can we expect in the future for helping customers that they come in asking for a 4-hour event, and when you talk to them and find out what they want, they really only need you for 15 minutes to an hour. But I don't want to quote what they put in there because I've got a contract of being there for 4 hours, but they're the only ones that have the ability to change what the event is, and that is sometimes hard for some of these event planners.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is currently it's only on their side, but we have a roadmap that we are working on to encourage on-site bookings because obviously we're a business and that's something we want to keep happening. So that actual feature is on the roadmap where you can kind of present changes and they can accept it, vice versa. Kind of like how if you would do it on Airbnb, you could present new dates, etc. So that is on the roadmap. I don't know a time frame, but I will note in our roadmap meeting that that was brought up again. So I'm hoping that'll push it down the line a little faster.
If I could pop in regarding Richard's comment, even the Santas who are fortunate enough to have a media reel, which they can make available through GigSalad, I understand, Megan, even those Santas with a sizzle reel will usually create a sequential, just cold cuts between the events, the reel entries rather than try to create a montage out of all of them. Sizzle reels can usually be very choppy cuts for the simple reason that you're not trying to catfish the client. You're simply trying to showcase your talent in the widest possible variety of applicable situations. And Danny, that was a very good point. I usually include in my contracts, I'm not sure if this is at all applicable to the GigSalad format. As you guys can tell, I will be joining tomorrow. I haven't joined before now, but in my contracts or in my bids, I usually include the phrase or portion thereof with my hourly rate. My hourly rate will be $250 for the first hour or portion thereof. And, that's the way I get around that. If I get there and they only need me for 15 minutes, that's okay. Our understanding was that they would pay me $250.
Sure.
We have one more comment from Russell Levine. Go ahead, my friend.
Thank you. Okay, so can you review the process for doing a nonprofit? I know that there's a fee that I would have to pay. I'm doing something for the Cub Scouts, and I want them to be able to put in a verified feedback. So in order to do that, I have to have them book it through GigSalad, and even though I'm not getting anything, there's still a fee. So can you just run through the process on how I do that?
Yeah, so usually what we advise is that you just send the minimum quote that you can, which I think is $1. It might be $10. I should know this. I can't ever remember. I always have to look it up every time. I want to say it's $1, and then the client just books you through the site. Alternatively, you can just mark the lead as by clicking, I already booked the gig with this client directly and pay the service fee on it. Minimum service fee is $10. So if you truly don't want them to pay anything, but you just want to pay the fee for the verified review, that's one way to do it too.
Okay.
So either of those ways work.
All right. Thank you, Megan.
And
You're
we
welcome.
clearly saved the best for last. Alan?
I just want to thank you for everything you guys do with GigSalad. You guys do a lot of very cool stuff for this community. Megan and her staff are so patient with this community that aren't particularly tech savvy. You guys do a lot for us. And I want to let everyone know that, as Megan said earlier, she will be back at our reunion in Orange, California on February 6th through 8th. And we're nice. We're setting everything up so she can give a similar class to what she did today, perhaps a little more in-depth. And we're also going to be setting her up so she can do, she and her elves, her staff can do profile coaching.
Consultation or
Yes, consultation. Thank you. You know, it's not a vocabulary day. So yes, bring your laptop, bring your iPad, bring what you use to use GigSalad, and we'll take a look at your profile. They can take a look at what it looks like on mobile, because that's what 90% of people are using is mobile. So make sure it looks good on mobile. We want to set everyone up for success. I'm a featured member of GigSalad and have been for a few years now. I've gotten some of my best clients year after year are GigSalad, and I appreciate you guys and what you do for the community. Thank you.
Here, here.
Thank you, guys. I truly do love the Santa community. I love being a part of these webinars. I love teaching you all. Our staff really loves Santas. It's become such a large part of our lives. So we really enjoy hanging out with you guys at the Santa schools and teaching you things. And I don't know if I should say this or not, but if you have any feedback on what you'd like to see in these classes next February, please share, because I do sometimes wonder if I'm being repetitive or if, if there's other things that you would like to know. So please feel free to share those ideas.
The basics are evergreen, and anyone who has questions or comments about what they'd like to see in the class can email me, and I'm sure they can reach you through GigSalad, and we can help everyone out. And remember, registration for that show is open right now. I'm sure Rick has some information for that, or you can go to ForbesSantasReunion.com.
You got the QR code handy? You can put it up on the screen as we're
give me 60 seconds.
All right, no problem. And I just want to echo his gratitude. I just can't say enough about GigSalad. By the way, before we do wrap up, a couple of these profiles aren't exactly name specific. Is Chris Nicholson with us? Was he able to make it? Okay, apparently not. Chris Nicholson wrote me ex parte and was wondering why we chose GigSalad, because according to him, he has had even more success with an operation called Bash. I was going to give him an opportunity to share his experience and, compare and contrast his statements with you. I won't ask you to come, unless you want to opine on the alternative. I won't even call him your competitor. Go.
To be 100% honest, they're very similar as far as platforms go. Same concept. They were actually long before we sort of inadvertently created this platform, not knowing that they existed. So it was it was kind of funny. But so yeah, we don't have any bad blood there. There's nothing wrong with having both. It gives you more exposure and gets you more leads. Honestly, the thing that I think stands out the most is our customer support and our complete immersion and involvement in the community. We truly love our members, and I don't necessarily get that vibe from them, but if you're looking for another place to create a profile, it's great. Go for it. But I of course think that we're better just because the experience.
So spake is the oracle, so spake is the truth. Okay.
Speaking for myself and having looked at the Bash and having looked at GigSalad, hey, wherever you can find work, that's great and everything. The Bash does not have a free setting, I don't believe, unless that's changed since I last looked at it. You can join GigSalad for free and you will get leads. You won't get, as many featured leads, but you will get leads, and there is no free setting on the Bash. The other thing you get from GigSalad that you don't get from agents and bookers and things like that is you get transparency. You can see what you're going to make, and you can see what the client is going to pay. Those of us who deal with agents from time to time know that sometimes that transparency doesn't really exist, and you'll find out the agent has collected 3 or 4 times what your fee is, and they're always looking for a really good deal. So you get something that with GigSalad that's transparency you don't necessarily get everywhere else.
Well said.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, and the QR code, can everybody see that?
Yes. Just point your
Okay.
phone at the screen and it will open the registration form for you. Or the
Rick, I have a really quick question.
Go. Yes.
So just a quick question about what shows up on GigSalad. So I had a quote expired. I renewed the quote, but on the client's end, it says that there's no active quotes. But I renewed my quote.
On the client's end, it says no active quotes.
You know how it says like how many people responded, how many people gave quotes?
Oh, you're looking at your lead insights and seeing no active quotes?
Yes.
Okay, that does not include your quotes. That's only your competition. So that means none of your competition has sent them a quote. So your numbers are not in those. Those are only competitors.
Okay. All right. Didn't know that.
That's
Thanks.
a good goose egg.
We all learned one thing today, at least.
Excellent. Well, Megan, you know what? You have been more generous with your Q&A time than you were with your presentation, and I cannot even begin to express our gratitude. Forbes is utterly reliant on our support industry, and you are at the helm of one of the most rapidly growing opportunities in the claws industry, and I thank you personally and professionally. And everybody get your GigSalad on. I'm going to do it tomorrow.
Show her some love, guys.
Thank you all. It was a pleasure.
All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. If you have any more questions, I will get an email out to you for Megan and anybody else that you want to talk to. As always, thank you guys. Much love. Bye, everybody.